Hello everyone, it's Aiden and we're back again with another monster drawing video. Today I'm drawing Boris Karloff as Imhotep the Mummy. This choice was picked by my Patreon backers. Once again, patreon.com/scapula, pick monster, support the artists, that good stuff. Oddly enough, this is like the 40-something video I've done in the Dada Hyena's Creature Show series, and this is the first time I'm drawing Boris Karloff in them. Karloff, of course, is one of the most loved, cherished, and fondly remembered of all horror stars. The Frankenstein Monster and numerous other horror movies, probably my favorite of which is The Body Snatcher, which hopefully I'll be able to draw him as Cadman Gray someday. So this is the way that Karloff appears for one scene in the film, not just one scene in the film, the best scene in the film, which is when the mummy comes to life. The number one complaint that I hear a lot of people make about the original version of the Mummy is that, oh, Karloff's only the mummy in one part of it, and the rest of it he's just a wrinkled up guy. And yes, it's true, he's only in that amazing makeup for one scene in the film. I mean, the makeup for the rest of the film, he looks great. Jack Pierce definitely did a great job on him, whether he's under wraps or when he's in the more alive version of Imhotep, whatever, the resurrected version, whatever you want to call it. And yes, it's true that the wrapped-up version is only seen once, but at the same time, let's be honest. How much can you really do with the wrapped-up version of The Mummy? And the answer to that is, look at every other friggin' Mummy movie that came out for decades after, where it's just a wrapped-up guy who kind of shuffles around. Unless if you have a really interesting plot going on, or just a good villain who's controlling it, there's not too many possibilities of what you can do with it. Lon Chaney Jr. hated playing the Mummy, not just because going through the makeup process was terrible, but there's also just nothing he was able to do with it. Christopher Lee, same thing. These are both great actors who are just being stuck under tons and tons of makeup and just being told, okay, smash this, pick that person up, try to look scary without emoting while you're doing it. It's gotta be a very difficult role to play, and all the more reason why a lot of the better Mummy movies are usually the ones where they get him out of the bandages soon and start giving him something to do. Which is exactly what the Karloff version does. It's a good movie. Yes, it does use a lot of plot elements from Universal's Dracula, but they work fine. The Universal Mummy movies that followed they're of varying quality. I've already mentioned that Chaney didn't like playing the Mummy, but I will say that the second one, The Mummy's Hand, which I think was Tom Tyler, was playing the Mummy on that one, and that one's pretty good too. The Mummy movies are not as fondly remembered as probably the more gothic horrors of Dracula and Frankenstein from Universal's catalog, but they were still popular enough to warrant the Stephen Sommers reboots in the 90s, and that fantastic Tom Cruise one, which kicked off the Dark Universe, or kicked it back into the sarcophagus, here. So, anyway, a lot of what I'm doing with Imhotep's hands here, drawing hands, is really, really hard for myself and a lot of artists, but thankfully I try to make it as interesting as possible by ripping off Steve Ditko, who of course is still one of my favorite comic book artists and had a very unique way of drawing hands, so I'm emulating that here. All in all, the Mummy is a lot of fun to draw. He may not be fun to act in or be under that makeup, but it's still it's one of the most memorable monsters in cinema. So let's tip our bandages to Boris Karloff and Imhotep the Mummy. Thanks guys, see you for the next one.